at that point 10%. Why don't you ask the question again? Let me try to formulate an answer.
Okay, so as you mentioned before, the United States are consuming currently 1/4 of the world's energy resources. And you didn't say explicitly how much China consumes, but you mentioned that the European Union, or that Europe at the moment, consume almost equal amounts of the United States. However, during your presentation, you've been painting a very bipolar picture.
Yes, that's true.
Being on the one hand dominated by Chinese and on the other hand dominated by US interests. Where are the other parties that are currently much more important than China? Because the way I understand it, China is currently consuming not as much energy.
Oh, no, you're totally wrong about that. I'm sorry. It's true that I did focus especially on oil. So if we look in 2030, first of all, in 2030, China alone is expected to consume twice as much energy as all of Europe. China alone, twice as much energy as Western Europe. Excuse me. China alone will consume twice as much energy as all of Western Europe. When we look at oil, these are the projections of the U.S. Department of Energy. When we look at oil, in 2030, China is expected to consume equal amounts of oil as all of Europe. So, I mean, we all on the planet have got to adjust our perceptions of a world in which China is dramatically changing the political, economic, and environmental landscape. I don't know if this is answering your question. That's why I'm obsessed, admittedly, with this bipolar equation. What is so dramatic in this picture when you look at the figure is that China and the United States together will have to import, because neither of them will be able to produce much oil domestically, will have to import, and they will have to import a very large percentage of the world's available exportable oil. So those two alone will be the critical players in Africa and in Central Asia and the Middle East in terms of gobbling up what's available for export. Europe will be a minor player. Now, Europe will be more important in terms of natural gas. So we could talk more about natural gas. Europe will be dependent as a dependency of Russia, because only Russia can supply the needs of Europe for natural gas, because that's the only source of energy that Europe can rely on in vast quantity. A certain amount can come from the countries of Central Asia, and I'll talk about that in my next discussion. And Russia is trying very hard to control that supply so that the natural gas of Central Asia goes through Russia, not independently, and some from North Africa, which Russia will also try to control. So this is a very important question for the future of Europe, is Russia's role in the control of natural gas. Let's make it very clear. Everyone on this planet faces a crisis of energy. Every single source is a problem. The one source of energy we have on the planet in abundance, there's only one source of energy we have in abundance right now, and that's coal. And the way that the US and China and India want to produce it is the way that will accelerate the destruction of the planet through global warming. So energy is the single biggest crisis facing the planet. Yeah, you pick.
Yeah, let's take you first. Huh?
I'll try to be
Yeah.
faster in my answering my questions.
I'll start waving my arms around. Okay, you.
Now, you said something earlier about a good possibility of there being a war with Iran.
Yes.
Okay.
Not a war, a military attack.
Okay, fair enough. Now, as I've understood it, the U.S.'s military capacity, acting alone, is designed to be able to be deployed on two fronts simultaneously and independently. And as I've understood it, the North Korean border is one of those fronts. And so I'm curious to know exactly how it is that an attack in Iran can happen, so long as the rest of the U.S. military is supporting Iran.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how the Dutch military, maybe you're not Dutch anyway, military is organized. The U.S. has three armies. There's the Army, the Air Force, and the Navy. And then there's the Marines. There are really four armies. The Marines are small. The Army and the Marine Corps is completely immobilized in Iraq and Afghanistan. But there's still two armies that are not, the Navy and the Air Force. So the plans for attack